are many things, ladies and gentlemen, that we can talk about today. And we will. There is an escalation in the Russia-Ukraine war. Virat Kohli and Gautam Gambhir's spat has taken an uglier turn. In Karnataka, the BJP is saying Jai Bajrangbali. 40 crore rupees in cash have been recovered from a retired bureaucrat. But all of this, all these four stories become a sideshow when you see the pictures I'm about to show you. And take a look at these pictures carefully. I'm putting them full screen for you. Look closely. What do you see? Well, what you see is a man in India's national capital clinging to the roof of a speeding car. This is minutes before he was flung to the ground and left to die. By the way, this is not just any road in Delhi. This is the intersection of KG Marg and Tolstoy Marg, the heart of Delhi, a VVIP zone. The parliament is 2 kilometers away from this area. The Supreme Court is a mere 3 kilometers. And the Rashtrapati Bhavan and the Prime Minister's residence are only 10 minutes away. Not to mention dozens of ministers and political leaders reside in this area. And the road isn't exactly empty. There are vehicles in front of it and on the side of it as well. This is perhaps one of the most secure areas in the country that is manned by cops and CCTVs. Yet there was no cop when this man on the roof of the car was hit by a speeding SUV, hurled to the roof of the car, and then driven for 3 kilometers. Yes, 3 kilometers. He's then flung off and he dies on impact. The speeding SUV with a family inside simply speeds away. The man driving the car, Harneet Chawla, was with his mother and his wife. He knew what he had done because the man who shot the video, Mohammed Bilal, this video has been shot by an eyewitness called Mohammed Bilal. Mohammed Bilal chased this car and tried to hail it down. But Chawla didn't stop. He didn't stop even when the victim was screaming his lungs out. He didn't stop even after Mohammed Bilal chased him down. What was this family thinking? Really, what were they thinking? You hit a person by accident? What is it? You can hit a person by accident. Maybe these motorists were speeding. But what does any decent citizen of this country do? What would you do? What would I do? You would stop your car. You would take this victim to the hospital. What the Chawla family did was exactly the opposite. What they did was execute a pure, cold-blooded murder, and it's caught on camera. Had they stopped, had they not sped away, 30-year-old Dipanshu Verma would have been alive today. His cousin who was with him escaped death by a whisker. Harneet Chawla, the driver of the SUV, has now been arrested. The law of this land will deal with him the way it has to. He has told cops that the fault was not his, but the motorists, as it was they who were speeding. Okay, they were speeding. Okay, you hit them. What is the next thing you're supposed to do? Are you supposed to have the man on the roof of your car, drive him for 3 kilometers, and then flung him to his death? Is this what a law-abiding citizen of this country is supposed to do when you manage to hit someone? In a busy road, by the way. This wasn't even an empty road. I also have some questions for the Delhi police. And I hope they have some answers to this. Why were they missing in action as always? This is one of the most secure zones in India, barely 2 kilometers away from Parliament. How could a car drive with a screaming man on its road without a single cop intercepting them? It was post-midnight. Surely the entire force hadn't gone home for a snooze by then. Where were the 3 lakh plus CCTVs in Delhi? If they were there and functioning, was someone monitoring them? By the looks of it, no. The accused was arrested only hours after this incident took place and after his car had to be tracked down. My colleague Priyank today was at the site of this hit and run. This is the report he sent us.
Once again, a person has been killed on the streets of the national capital in an incident of road rage. We are once again back on the track to show you the recreation of this incident. So at this location, at this Tolstoy Marg and KG Marg intersection, the victim's vehicle was hit by a black color SUV. Dipanshu, who was along with his cousin, was on a joyride. He had gone to the India Gate, and while coming back, his scooty was hit by this speeding vehicle. This is Kasturba Gandhi Marg. This is the road which connects the India Gate to the Connaught Circus, the Connaught Place. Both the sides of the road, there are CCTV cameras which are installed, but unfortunately, no one is keeping a close watch or monitoring of these cameras. These kind of cameras are also installed on the traffic intersections, which is there to capture the images of any kind of violation in the traffic. But there was no one who was noticing it. Fortunately, one of the passerby, a bike rider, spotted this incident happening right in front of his eyes. He could only manage to capture 6 seconds of the clip, which has been a very clinching piece of evidence in this particular case. What we have also got to know from Delhi police, that they have added section 302, which is a case of murder against the accused, who has been arrested now. But the victim family is demanding that those people who were sitting inside the vehicle should also be penalized, because they did not stop the crime. Has been their demand from the Times Group that there should be an amendment in the Motor Vehicle Act.
Let me go straight across to Priyank, who is joining us from KG Marg. In fact, he's someone who's managed to access the FIR as well. We need to tell our viewers that this incident is 3 days old. The man in question, the driver, is currently in police custody. But are you hearing at all from the police? The fact is, Priyank, we are seeing this video. We are seeing that this is not an empty road. There are vehicles that are in front of it. How is it possible for a car with a man on top of it, screaming his lungs out, be driven on Delhi's most secure road for 3 kilometers and no one intercepts him?
That's because, Shreya, the Delhi police always has a double standard when it comes to VVIPs and when it comes to common man. We have seen what happened in Karanjawala, where a victim was dragged for 13 kilometers on that too, on the night when there was a high security vigil. No one noticed it. Now it comes to this particular person who was killed by the speeding SUV, and the body was lying on the top of the rooftop, and no one was noticing it. When it comes to the senior, bureaucrats or some politicians, they swung into action. In cases of sexual harassment also, when the opposition party leaders claim that they have heard something which has gone against the victim, the senior official, special CP rank officer, reaches to their house and send him notice to join the investigation. But when it comes to the senior leaders like Bhushan Singh, the FIR is has been filed, but the Delhi police has not arrested him. Instead of sections of POXO being added in the FIR. So there are numerous incidences which has shown that how the cops have been behaving, the police officials have been supportive for the powerful people, but not for those people who were on scooty or motorbikes. Those SUV drivers still managed to run away. Fortunately, in this particular incident, there was a mobile clip, which is only 6-second clip, Shreya, because the driver, while he was trying to chase this vehicle, which finally, could not be spotted after Ranjit Singh flyover, was in such a high speed that the bike rider could only make a video of 6 seconds. What we've got to know from police officials on the basis of this particular clip, they finally located the vehicle. The accused was arrested. In his defense, he was trying to cook up stories. But after being in 3 days of police remand, the accused did not reveal that why he did so. Now he's in judicial remand, and on 8th, the bail application order will be heard by the police officials. But if you keep everything aside, there has been a series of demand which has been coming out from all the part of the country, that there's a need to amend the Motor Vehicle Act. If by God's grace, this person could have survived and he could have been in isolation or on deathbed, or he could have been in ICU, the accused would have simply got bail, because the Motor Vehicle Act certainly allows a person to get bail if the victim does not die. So many things need to be taken into consideration. On one side, the Delhi police need to increase the security vigil and be true to the claim which they make on TV cameras and in front of people. On the other side, in numerous cases of road rage, hit and run, there is a certain need to amend the Motor Vehicle Act because which allows these victims to, get an easy bail from the police station.
Okay, we'll leave it there for the moment, Priyank. Thank you very much for joining us with that and for your report that you filed earlier today. I'm going straight across to Unnati Verma, who's the sister of Dipanshu Verma. The man you're seeing on the roof of the car there, what an, I mean, it's just simply tragic. And Unnati, I'm fairly certain कि आप जब ये तस्वीरें बार-बार देख रही हैं, आपकी और आपकी फैमिली को ये अच्छा नहीं लग रहा होगा कि ये बार-बार तस्वीरें दिखाई जा रही हैं, लेकिन ज़रूरी है ये देखना, मुझे लगता है, क्योंकि ज़रूरी है इस देश को देखना कि इस देश में कानून का राज है, जंगल राज नहीं है, जहाँ पे आप किसी को मारें, उसको अपने रूफ पे 3 किलोमीटर तक ले जाएं और फिर you just fling him apart and he dies in the process. मैं आपसे जानना चाह रही हूँ कि मतलब अभी आपकी फैमिली का क्या हाल है? आप लोग इस सदमे से तो शायद नहीं उभर पाए होंगे, लेकिन जब आप ये तस्वीरें देखते हैं, आप लोग अपने मन को कैसे दिलासा देते हैं?
मैम, हम क्या ही दिलासा देंगे अपने दिल को कि मेरा तो एक लौता ही भाई था, एक लौता बच्चा हमारे घर का, जो इस बंदे की वजह से चला गया। मेरी सबसे यही रिक्वेस्ट है कि उसको ज्यादा से ज्यादा शेयर करो, वायरल करो। दिल्ली इतनी बड़ी राजधानी है इंडिया की, वहां पे ऐसे सरेआम ऐसे इंसिडेंट्स हो रहे हैं। मैं चाहती हूँ कि इसको कड़ी से कड़ी सजा मिले। ये हमारे लिए ये देखा भी नहीं जा रहा कि कितने दुख की बात है कि मेरा भाई ऐसे लेटा हुआ है एंड ही वाज अलाइव। वो अलाइव ही था टिल एम्बुलेंस, ही वाज अलाइव। तो मैं आपको नहीं बता सकती कि इस टाइम हम मेरे घर पे और हम पे क्या बीत रही है।
उन्नति, आप मुझे बोल रहे हो कि अगर इस आदमी ने, इस ड्राइवर ने बेसिक डिसेंसी दिखाई होती, नॉट जस्ट एज अ सिटीजन ऑफ दिस कंट्री बट इवन एज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग, अगर उसके परिवार ने, उसकी माँ थी गाड़ी में, उसकी बीवी थी गाड़ी में, थोड़ी सी डिसेंसी दिखाई होती, थोड़ी सी ह्यूमैनिटी दिखाई होती, गाड़ी रोक ली होती, तो शायद आज आपका भाई जिंदा होता। आपको ऐसा लगता है उन्नति?
बिल्कुल वो जिंदा होता, क्योंकि वो अलाइव ही था। आप देख सकते हो, वो उसकी मूवमेंट भी हो रही है, वो अलाइव था। पूरी वीडियो में कैप्चर हुआ है ये। तो अगर उसकी मम्मी और उसकी वाइफ थी, तो क्या उन लोगों को इतना नहीं दिखा कि कोई बंदा है तो हम उसको रोके? वो तब भी उनका साथ दे रहे थे गाड़ी भगाने में। तो पूरी फैमिली क्रिमिनल है अगर ये इस तरीके से काम करते हैं तो।
आप दिल्ली पुलिस को क्रिमिनल मानते हैं? क्योंकि ये तो बहुत वीआईपी एरिया है। कहाँ थे वो लोग?
और ये कहाँ थे? 12 खंबा रोड पे ही इंसिडेंट हुआ है, टॉलस्टॉय मार्ग पे, और उसके बाद 3 किलोमीटर दिल्ली गेट तक लेके गया है ये बंदा। इस बंदे ने गाड़ी ही नहीं रोकी और उसके बाद उसने उसको गाड़ी से गिराया है, बहुत बुरी तरह गिराया है। ही वाज अलाइव, और जब उसको गिराया तो उसके चोट लगी सर पे, तब उसकी डेथ हुई है। ही वाज अलाइव। जो लोग थे जो वहां पे, उन्होंने इंफॉर्मेशन दी है कि वो जिंदा था, कार तक वो जिंदा ही था। लेकिन जब उसने उसको फेंका है गाड़ी से, जानबूझ के उसने उसे गिराया है, उसके बाद उसके सर पे चोट लगी है एंड देन एट दैट टाइम ही डाइड। टिल एम्बुलेंस ही वाज अलाइव। तो वो बच सकता था, वो बच जाता। अगर ये थोड़ी सी इंसानियत दिखा लेता तो वो बच जाता, पर इसने ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं किया।
मोहम्मद बिलाल नाम के एक आई विटनेस है जिन्होंने ये वीडियो शूट किया, और आप उन्नति बोल रहे, मोहम्मद बिलाल नाम के आई विटनेस हैं जिन्होंने ये वीडियो जो हमारे स्क्रीन पे चल रहा है वो शूट किया है। वो कह रहे हैं कि मैंने बार-बार रोकने की कोशिश की इस गाड़ी को।
उन्होंने बोला कि वो साइड मिरर से वो बंदा देख रहा है कंटिन्यू कि पीछे से कोई आवाज लगा रहा है, लेकिन उसने गाड़ी और ओवर स्पीड कर दी। जानने के बाद भी पूरा उसने साइड मिरर से सब कुछ देखा है, हर चीज उसने देखी है कि पीछे से लोग आवाज लगा रहे हैं। और इतनी व्हीकल है, क्या कोई था नहीं? क्या किसी से रुका नहीं? 4 किलोमीटर के एरिया में कोई पुलिस नहीं थी जो ये गाड़ी रोक ले? दिल्ली का इतना बढ़िया एरिया, कनॉट प्लेस, इतना वीआईपी एरिया, यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं था। सैटरडे नाइट, कुछ कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं थी किसी के पास। और फैमिली थी तो फैमिली वाला बंदा तो हमेशा सबसे पहले गाड़ी रोके।
मैं वही, एक्चुअली दैट इज व्हाट इज सरप्राइजिंग फॉर मी उन्नति, क्योंकि सबसे पहले your family will tell you, even if you're doing the wrong thing, your family tells you to do the right thing. रोको गाड़ी, लड़के को हॉस्पिटल ले चलते हैं. किस तरह की फैमिली थी जिन्होंने रोका नहीं, ना माँ ने बोला, ना बीवी ने बोला. For me, that is very shocking. Unnati, thank you for joining us. I know this is a tough period for you and your family, but I thank you for coming and speaking to Mirror now, because you know, we keep saying victim, victim. The victim is not just another statistic. That victim is someone's son, is someone's brother, is someone's father, and we need to be cognizant of that as well. Thank you, Unnati, Dipanshu's sister, joining us on the broadcast. Thank you very much. I won't keep you here anymore, any longer. I know this is a tough time for your family. Niharika Karanjawala is a principal associate at the Karanjawala Co. She's a lawyer. Neelam Krishnamurthy is a citizen. She knows what it is like to lose someone. Neelamji, can I please come to you first and ask you what you make of what has happened today? I mean, we'll talk about the Delhi police in just a bit, but I'm thinking about basic humanity here. I'm just thinking about is this what we have now become?
Absolutely. I think we'll call ours a very insensitive society. We have become absolutely inconsiderate. And I think the mother and the wife should also be hauled up for conspiracy in murder case, because they're equally responsible. They were with this boy in the car. They knew what has happened. And yet they did not ask the son or the husband to stop the car and take that person to the hospital. Had they done that, this man's life would have been saved. He would have been alive today. So I think it's very important that the Delhi police should book the mother and the wife also in conspiracy along with them, because they're equally responsible. Only then will we be able to send a strong message to the society, because that's what is required. And the most important thing, which I've been saying for over the years, this government is scrapping a lot of old laws. Why don't we scrap 304A? This law was brought in by the Britishers because they were the only ones who were driving cars. They didn't want to go behind bars because they would mow down an Indian under their car. Let's scrap this law, because even a child knows that if he's going to drive a car and somebody comes in front of him and he mows down the person, he's going to get bail. It's a bailable offense. The police itself grants bail. So where is the deterrence? Please tell me that. And in our country, where it takes decades and decades, not just one decade, for me it's the third decade, and you don't get justice. So why should anybody have any deterrence of law? Why should anybody be scared? Say, theek hai yaar, maar diya, koi baat nahi, I'll engage a lawyer. And the defense counsels have enough, please. They can keep on getting the matter adjourned, and the court will, of course, oblige them. They'll keep on obliging. By the end of it, the courts actually have sympathy for the accused and not for the victim, because victim is long forgotten. They say, oh, the accused, he's faced such a long trial, poor guy. He spent 25 years, a prolonged trial. He's now, 65-year-old, so let him go. This is the kind of a system we're living in. What do? And it is the lawyers who go and take this plea to the judges. And the judge is always given. I'm watching it over the period of time. By the end of it, after holding them guilty, they give them the benefit of the old age. What about the children who were killed? What about this boy's age? He was just 30. What about the age of my children? What about the age of the 23 children who died in Upar? But the judges have only considered the age of the accused, and this doesn't happen only in my case. I'm reading, and it's happening in a lot of other cases. So I'm not only going to talk about Upar. They only consider the age of the accused, the person who's been convicted, the sympathies towards him, and not towards the victims at all. The judges sitting there don't even know what is the name of the victims. How old were the victims? How many family members have been affected due to one person's death? Does anybody even think about it? No. They always talk, oh, this person being convicted, he's now 50-year-old, he has a family to support, there is no male member in his family. These are the arguments which they come, and he's the only earning member. They only consider about that. They will not bother the person who's died if he was the only earning member. Whom all has he left behind? So let's give, because I think courts are there for
the wheels of justice.
If you cannot give justice to the victims, please close the courts. Please close down the courts, because justice become a joke in our country.
Well, it does. Very often it does. Niharika, What has also become a joke is the Delhi police, is it? While I understand where Ms. Krishnamurthy is coming from, she is not just looking at this incident from the point of view of what has happened and the brutality of what has happened on the streets of Delhi, but also what the family is going to face in the coming days and months and years. What has also become a joke is the Delhi police. As I said, this is This is one of the most secure areas in this country. The Prime Minister lives 10 minutes away from here. The Rashtrapati Bhavan is 10 minutes away from here. The Parliament is 3 kilometers away from here. Let's put that map for our viewers, just to show them, for people who don't live in Delhi, this is your national capital. We are putting that map out for you right now so you understand the geography of the area that we are talking about. This is no ordinary area, Niharika. And we are told that in the city of Delhi, there are some 2.75 lakh CCTVs that are manning and mapping every inch of this city. They are manning and mapping every inch of this city, and yet a car drives a man on its roof, a screaming man at that, on its roof for 3 kilometers, and no cop intercepts him, and there is no CCTV that spots it and mobilizes a unit to rescue this man. I'm amazed, I'm shocked.
Absolutely, Shreya. I think you've zeroed in on what one of the larger institutional failures in this case is. It's an extremely tragic case, and all I can say for the visuals are they're very, very hard to watch. And from that perspective, I'm going to make a concerted effort to try to keep my comments neutral and free of an emotional aspect, because cases like this do bring up a significant emotional aspect in us all. But commenting as a lawyer for your viewers, I feel like I owe them the attempt at that neutrality, at a greatest neutrality here. Certainly, I think there is a significant institutional failing here in why was there no authority? Why was there no institutional authority that intervened in this case? Why was it the task of an eyewitness? And I think that speaks, as we were saying earlier, what has our society come to? Is this what it comes to? I think that is one of the things that speaks to the hopefulness in our society and the hope for our society yet, that an eyewitness undertook to try and bring to the notice of the driver, to try and save this young man's life. I think that does speak to a certain hopefulness in it. But it is an extremely concerning situation that in a crowded area, this isn't a desolate area, this isn't an out of the way area, and as you said, this is a high security area. Why was there no authority present? Why was there no institutional presence here? And I do think that this is something we need to ask of the state. This is something we need to ask of the police. In what way are these measures being put forward to actually ensure the safety of the citizen in the moment? Even if a CCTV camera captures a crime being committed, is it enough that only be used as evidence in a trial at a later stage if there is a potential to save human life and prevent and avert human suffering? And I would strongly say it's not enough. And I also would say that this goes forward to show that there needs to be a more practical approach that law enforcement take in instances like this. Why is it that on long stretches of road in high security areas, there is absolutely no police presence? I have no potential answer for that. And for that, yeah, I do agree with you. I believe that the Delhi police ought to hold some accountability or to have some answer. On Neelam ma'am's point of doing away with 304A, I'm not sure if that is the best route of action, because then you'll be left with a lacuna in the law for cases that fall under the evidentiary ambit of 302 and cases that fall short of what is required in order to establish a case under 302. And I don't think that's the right thing. However, I do agree that 2 years, and especially when you're seeing visuals of this of course is now a 302 case, so that aside, but 2 years, especially in the instance of loss of a life, does not seem on balance an appropriate punishment. And therefore, while I'm not pro doing away with the section, I would be pro considering an increase in the punishment and the number of years, maybe defeating the bailable offense aspect.
Okay, we leave it there. I'm just stunned. I'm just stunned that there are questions that need to be asked of the Delhi police. I'm wondering why they are not being asked. As I said, VVIP area, something as brutal as this is happening on, on a road which is very close to the Prime Minister's office. And this is the response. Oh, we have arrested him. You didn't even manage to arrest him the same day. You only managed to arrest him the next day. And you're right about the slight hopefulness that we are seeing in this entire story. Mohammed Bilal, wherever you are, we tried to get in touch with you. If you're watching this broadcast, we tried to get in touch with you, Mohammed Bilal. We couldn't. Maybe you didn't want to speak. We understand that. We respect that. But salute to you. And a big thank you for doing what you did. Because if you hadn't, with your camera, chased this car and tried to hail it down, we would have never known what has happened. We would have simply not known what has happened. So thank you very much, Mohammed Bilal, and thank you very much, Niharika and Krishnamurthy ma'am, for joining us on this broadcast. I'm slipping into a quick break on the show. There's much more news that is coming up on the other side. We have Russia that is threatening action and retaliation against Ukraine for what they claim has been Ukraine's attempt to assassinate President Putin. Is it just Russian drama that is playing out, or is there any truth to what Moscow is saying? That is coming up next. Do stay with us.